The 2023 season for the San Diego Padres is over. It's been over for a while, but it's over, I think, officially today, being May 31st, 2023. Now, the Padres just earlier today lost a game 2-1 to the Miami Marlins. You know, they get two hits against a guy like Braxton Garrett, who otherwise has been pretty average for the entirety of the season and his career. They get two hits off of him. It's not just today and just today's game. A couple different things to lay out. First and foremost, the Padres pitching has been excellent. Bullpen ERA, outstanding. Overall, as a team, pitching staff, they've been great. The problem for the Padres is on the offensive side of the ball. It's not really a secret at this point, but the Padres are in the bottom five or last in almost every single statistical offensive category that isn't a cumulative stat, meaning home runs or RBIs or hits or things like you add those stats up to get to the number. But if you talk about the averaged out stats, things like batting average, OPS, weighted runs created plus, things that indicate how well a team's doing something on a consistent and average basis, the Padres are in the bottom five or dead last. But the Padres are top three in payroll. So how could that be possible? Last year, the Padres won 89 games. They added Xander Bogaerts and Fernando Tatis Jr., and they're worse. Here's a little bit of an insight on how that's actually possible. Okay, so this is pitch arsenal leaderboards and the offensive production based on how well certain players have done. You take out Juan Soto, and by the way, when I talk about the Padres offense, Juan Soto's not included in any of that. Take out Juan Soto from everything that I say when I talk about the Padres team as a whole offensively. Juan Soto, don't include him. Fernando Tatis Jr. hammers the fastball. The rest of the team either hasn't played enough for this to be legitimate, meaning Nelson Cruz and Rougned Odor, or they can't hit the fastball. Guys like Matt Carpenter, Jake Cronenworth, Trent Grisham, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, -3 run value for Xander Bogaerts in 2023 so far this season. Now, if you go to 2021 and you go to, let's say, the Red Sox, for example, and you update this based on four-seamer, Xander Bogaerts actually had a 5 overall run value against the fastball. Or if you want to go based on weighted on base, Xander Bogaerts had a 391 weighted on base against the fastball. But then somehow, when he's on the Padres and you go to weighted on base, 314. So it's gotten significantly worse. It's almost like he's not ready to hit the fastball. It's almost like he's not ready to go. It's almost like the pitch clock came in and these guys forgot how to hit. So here's a couple different guys in their Baseball Savant pages. To keep it short and brief, if you guys want more information, go check it out. But ultimately, as you can see here on the scale at the bottom, poor, average, and great. If you have a lot of red, if you have a lot of numbers on the scales in the percentile rankings, these are percentile rankings across the entire league. If they're in the red and they're towards the right of the overall scale, that means they're good. Here's Fernando Tatis Jr. In 2021, he smashed the ball, high expected slugging. He was a really effective offensive player. Here's this year. Everything sort of just slides to the left, regresses. 2021, Manny Machado, holy cow, what a year. 2023, forgets how to play baseball. Here's Trent Grisham in his first year with the Padres. 2020, a lot of red, really productive offensive player. This year, forgets how to hit. Here's Jake Cronenworth. He was an all-star in 2021. Good amount of red, a little bit of pink. It is what it is. 2023, he forgot how to hit. 2018, Matt Carpenter. Holy cow, was this guy an absolute slugger. Now, I know it's 5 years ago, but last year and the years past, like even on the Yankees, he was excellent. This year, and he forgot how to hit the baseball. Here's the Major League team splits, specifically team offensive stats with runners in scoring position. This is sorted by batting average with runners in scoring position. Oh, all the way at the bottom. There's the Padres with a 192 batting average with runners in scoring position. Or you could just go to OPS. The Padres are 607 team OPS with runners in scoring position. And then team batting average as a whole, if you go to MLB team stats, just like this on Google, and you go to 2023 hitting stats on MLB.com, and you sort it by team, and you go over to things like average, or maybe let's say you're an OPS guy instead of just batting average. You go down to OPS, the Padres are 23rd in team OPS. So what's the problem, right? What's the issue? What's going on? Well, there's a handful of different things you could probably indicate or point out. To me, most of the issues that are ongoing with the Padres as an entire lineup, as an entire team, again, this is all excluding Juan Soto. I've watched basically every game. Missed a handful of games here and there, but the games that I missed or the at bats or innings that I missed, it's just like it's been nothing. It's been 1, 2, 3. It's been really boring, right? There's a lot of things going on with the Padres. Oh, well, Xander Bogaerts got his wrist problem. Let's start with Xander Bogaerts. He's got a wrist thing, and he's doing this. Oh, okay. Well, he's got a wrist issue, and he had a cortisone shot, so then he's not gonna like play very much, right? No, he plays every day. Oh, okay. Well, he plays every day, so he hits like 6th or 7th in the lineup, so there's not too much off it. No, he hits cleanup every day. Oh, okay, cool, got it. Manny Machado can't hit fastballs. Cronenworth can't hit fastballs. Grisham can't hit fastballs. Tatis hammers fastballs. But amongst all players on the Padres, which player do you think gets pitched four-seam fastballs the fewest of any player, percentage-wise? Fernando Tatis Jr. Why? Because pitchers know he's not gonna. You can't throw him fastballs. You can't. You can't throw him fastballs, and so they don't. And then they throw him off-seam pitches, and he can't hit it. Everybody offensively this year for the Padres has regressed at a historic rate. The offensive production is abysmal. There's nothing there. And there's a lot of things wrong with the team, from a statistical standpoint. But when you start to see maybe specific stats like offensive production with runners in scoring position, or you see offensive production versus velocity, or you see just overall offensive regression, then you start to look at the patterns of before maybe, let's just say the month of May for specifically Juan Soto. He was really good with the Nationals, and then he came to the Padres, and he wasn't that good. Xander Bogaerts was amazing for the Red Sox for the longest time, and now he's on the Padres, and he's not really that good anymore. Josh Bell, Padres included him in the trade with Juan Soto from the Nationals. He was hitting over 300 with the Nationals. He was an all-star. Comes to the Padres, and then he's not very good. And then Brandon Drury was on the Reds last year. He was an all-star, hit 20-plus home runs before the trade deadline. Comes to the Padres, and then he's not very good. And you start to see a little bit of a pattern develop, where you see a team like the Padres pick up ungodly amounts of incredibly talented baseball players, and they perform worse than they did on other teams. Then you see a team like the Dodgers, who add JD Martinez or add Freddie Freeman or add Max Muncy, who was just released by the Oakland A's before the Dodgers picked him up, or Justin Turner was a MLB journeyman before he goes to the Dodgers and becomes a 4-time All-Star. Chris Taylor was a nobody, goes to the Dodgers. He's an all-star. There's a pattern that kind of starts to develop, right? One team turns nobodies into all-stars, and another team turns all-stars into nobodies. Additionally, like I mentioned, the statistics about batting average with runners in scoring position or offensive production with runners, the stuff where it's like guys on base, and it is, for lack of a better term, a team-oriented situation or statistic. The Padres offensively get overmatched in a lot of those at bats and situations. And there's a lot of different ways you can potentially look at it. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know. But based on what I've collected and what I've watched and how I see these guys conduct their business on a day in and day out basis, with nobody on base, with one runner on base, with bases loaded, all the different things. These guys are conducting their at-bats and their approach in an unprepared manner, in a selfish manner, and honestly, in a manner that wouldn't really fly anywhere else, wouldn't be condoned, wouldn't be rewarded, and wouldn't see consistent playing time anywhere else. You're telling me Yandy Diaz is better than Xander Bogaerts offensively? Or Josh Lowe, or Brandon Lau, or Jose Siri, or these guys on the Rays that were nobodies, and now they're all-stars or better than the all-stars the Padres got that are nobodies. The way the Padres are going about their business on a daily basis, it's lazy, it's lackadaisical, there's no effort, there's no intensity. Uh, and to be honest with you, based on what I've gathered and how I see these guys going about their daily business, I personally don't believe that they actually really care that much at all. Oh, but of course they care. They're getting out there, go out there every day. No, because if they like really like it actually hurt their soul, like, oh man, I didn't come through with the hit there. Like if they really cared, then they would change how they're handling themselves. They would shorten up with 2 strikes. They would shorten up with a runner on third base and no outs. When I go to the game in Washington, D.C., between the Padres and the Nationals, Cole Irvin on the Nationals comes out and walks the bases loaded with 0 outs. And Xander Bogaerts comes up to the plate, takes 3 balls in a row, works the count to 3-1, and with no outs and the bases loaded against an 89-mile-an-hour, nobody, bullshit fastball, he pops it up to second base. That's just, it's lazy. Lack of accountability. He's unprepared. He's not entirely locked in, right? There's a lot of statistics and categories and things where baseball gets quantified from a numbers basis. The issues with the Padres right now are hard to quantify based on just the numbers, even though the numbers are glaringly bad. There's a lot of different things you can look at based on a guy and the way he goes about his business where you're like, he just wasn't ready to go in that at bat. He was entirely overmatched. He was late on fastballs. He wasn't hitting anything over the plate. And again, you go over to the stuff like this, right? Here is StatCast hitting metrics ranked on team. And this area specifically is ranked on hard hit percentage, right? The percentage of the time that the balls are hit hard. Here's the Padres down here in the 24th, 25th position. Here's plate discipline sorted by this category, which is meatball swing percentage, meaning how often do these guys swing at fastball or pitches, not just fastballs, pitches over the middle of the plate. And again, down here somewhere in the 25th or 26th position, there's the Padres again. So to me, what that says is they're unprepared. They're not getting the information necessary that's going to allow them to succeed at the maximum level. And additionally, if they were getting that information, they simply don't care because all they want to do is put together the most selfish at-bat that they possibly can, hit a home run at Yankee Stadium, and be the superstar hero. They simply just do not care. They don't care. If they cared, they would change how they are playing. If they cared, they would cut down on the leg kicks. They'd get their foot down on time. They'd be more prepared. They'd make a concerted effort to make an adjustment and improve their contributions to the team. Like, I don't know, Juan Soto, who's hitting sub 200 coming into the month of May and is coming out of the month of May at like 265, 270. His OPS was in the 600s coming into this month, and it's now almost it's like 935. Why? Because he made a concerted effort to change the way he was conducting his business, put the barrel on the ball, probably prepare a little bit better, and ultimately improve his results and improve his contributions to the team. The rest of the guys don't care. They're lazy. They're bored. It's really, really difficult and hard to watch. And I mentioned the guys coming from one team and going to another and being bad on the Padres and good everywhere else are. That part of it to me is just, it's just simply not a coincidence, right? There's only a certain number of times something can happen over and over before it turns from a pattern or there's only a certain number of times something can happen over and over consistently before it changes from a coincidence to a pattern. And the pattern is the Padres as an organization are behind. They're behind everybody else. They think they could just buy wins, right? And we've seen Moneyball, everybody's seen everything else. Analytically speaking, the Rays, the Dodgers, a handful of other teams are leaps and bounds, light years ahead of the Padres because they're not good. Players come to the Padres and become worse. Well, how could that be possible? Because the guys, they're not prepared. They're just simply unprepared. The season's over. Like, it is way over. But it's early, and it's from everything we've seen indication wise, the Padres season is so far over. It's disgusting how far over it is. And the saddest part about all of it is that the Padres fans, once again, were suckered into thinking, you know what? This might be the year. 2021, no, 2020, this might be the year. COVID doesn't count, even when you do consider the games and whatever, they get bounced. 2021, this might be the year. Looks good. Looks good. Oh, and trade deadline, Padres go, I think, like 17-41 in their last 2 months, and they miss the playoffs, finish under 500. Last year, this might be the year. Kind of get lucky, get into the postseason, 89 wins. Darvish and Musgrove pitch them through New York and, honestly, LA. And then they play the Phillies, an offensive team who gets production 1 through 9, or at least did in the postseason, and they lose. No. This year is the year. We got Bogarts. We got Tatis back. It is over. And they don't care. So it's really sad. I think it's sad. It's tough. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you guys watch Padres baseball and if you notice the palpable difference about how the Padres conduct their business and handle their at-bats versus the rest of the teams in the league. I hope if you're seeing this video for the first time, or you're seeing my channel for the first time, this will give you a good enough explanation as to how and why the Padres will inevitably miss the playoffs. Because there's still going to be people at the end of the year, in September, coming down to the wire. They're going to go, oh my God, how did the Padres miss the playoffs? Because they don't care. They're not prepared, right? You talk about, like I said, the things that are hard to quantify, the things statistically that you're like, how do you quantify grit? How do you quantify putting your fucking nose in there and just battling? How do you quantify that? And if you were able to quantify it, I think, first of all, like, offensive production with runners in scoring position. That's a great, as best as we could potentially, quantify it. Offensive production could be any stat. Weighted runs created plus, OPS plus, weighted on base, average exit velo, whatever the case may be. But it's really ultimately hard to quantify digging in, shortening up, and being prepared to hit anything. Last year in the playoffs, the Padres had that 7-run inning against the Dodgers and ended up beating them in game 4, right? And you had at-bats and games and contact where it's like Austin Nola hitting a ground ball to the right side, putting it in play with the runner in scoring position. Ha-Seong Kim with runner in scoring position, putting it in play. Jake Cronenworth comes up, 2 strikes, short stride, hands connected, in a hitting position. Not some huge leg kick, not his hands down here where he can't hit the ball. He can't hit it. And he can't hit fastballs at all this year. Short, compact, to the baseball, Luis Arraez style, because we played against the Marlins, and that's the first name that comes to my head. Against the tough lefty, Alex Vesia hits a soft line drive, tough at bat against a really tough lefty, 2 RBI single. There's like, the Padres this year, it's going to sound a lot like, a dramatic people or, guys or crazy people they call in the radio stations like this team's got no heart, no fight. That's the Padres this year. There's nothing there. There's nothing there with this team. Nothing. There's nothing. If you take Juan Soto off this team, they're 5 games under 500 as we talk today. If you took Juan Soto off this team, oh boy, they might be 6, 8, 10 games under 500 right now. Easily. And the season is over. Like, it's way over. It's way over. There's nothing else they can do. They can't pay anybody anymore. There's no more room in the payroll. There's no room at the competitive balance tax. They're number 3 in payroll. What are they going to do? There's nothing. It's worthless. They don't care. They're unprepared. It's just lazy. I'm a superstar. They don't care. We care. We care as fans more than they do. I care. I promise you. I promise you, I care more than Trent Grisham. I care more than Matt Carpenter, Nelson Cruz. No, dude, you're being ridiculous. Of course these guys care more than you. Of course they care more than you do. You know what? They're probably better than me. They are probably. They're way better than I am. And way better than I would ever be as a baseball player and as a hitter. And hitting a baseball, you know what? It's impossible. But you know what I would do that these guys just do not care? I would physically make sure that everybody knew that I was giving it every single ounce of effort and energy and attention and focus that I possibly have. And if I give it everything that I have in that situation and it's not enough, fuck, it's not enough, man. But earlier in the year when Trent Grisham comes up with bases loaded, 2 outs in a 1-run game in the bottom of the 9th in San Diego against Devin Williams, 3-2 count, and he takes a fastball right down the middle for strike 3 to end the game. You know what I would have done in that situation? I would have swung. And I would have missed the ball. I would have never even come close to hitting it. But you know what I would have done? I would have swung the bat. Or if I'm Xander Bogaerts and I'm in Washington, D.C. 3 days ago and I come up with bases loaded, no outs in the 3rd inning, no outs, bases loaded after the starter just walked 3 guys in a row, and I work into a 3-0 count, take a strike, and it's 3-1 against a rookie starting pitcher who just walked 3 guys. You know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't hit a pop-up to second base. I promise. I promise you I wouldn't. If I thought I was going to, or I just knew I am so bad, I'd fucking bunt. I would choke up. It would be the distance between the knob of the bat and the bottom of my hand would be this far. And my hands would be right here. And I would just, anything it takes to not hit a pop-up in the infield. Or strike out. And you know what those guys do? Those exact things. That's what they do. Because if they cared, they wouldn't do those things. Now, I understand it happens every once in a while. Don't get me wrong. Hitting's a really hard thing to do. But when it happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and the team's offensive production with runners in scoring position is the worst in baseball by far. They don't care. They're unprepared. The organization is not giving them the proper information. Analytically, physically, there's nothing there. There's nothing. The Padres are once again the laughing stock of the league. They're the laughing stock of the league. They had been for the last decade or so. Things were looking up and the payroll is all of a sudden on the moon. And now they're even more of a laughing stock. And the part to me that's just the last thing that I'll say before I let you guys go here is I'm just confused how these guys can, like, not to be like crazy dramatic, but how can they live with themselves? Just in terms of like, not like, of course they're like, I'm sure they're all great dudes. They're like normal guys or whatever. I don't care about that. But like, isn't it embarrassing? Like, if you haven't seen the rants from old University of Texas baseball coach Augie Garrido, talking about guys on his team, and it was like a post-game thing in the locker room where he's screaming at his guys and they lost. And he's screaming, he's like apparently a guy early in the game got picked off at first base, right? And he's like, how the fuck do you get picked off at first base? Well, like theoretically, like how do I get picked off? Well, I took a secondary lead and we got too far off or whatever, or the pitcher had a really good pickoff move and I was a little bit too far off and didn't get great footing didn't get a great read off of his pickoff. No. That's not the answer. How do you get picked off? The Padres today, Ha-Seong Kim got picked off second base. Fernando Tatis Jr. in New York got back picked by the catcher at first base. How does that happen? What are you doing? Xander Bogaerts, bases loaded, no outs, pop up on a 3-1 count on the infield. How the fuck do you pop up on 3-1 against the rookie starting pitcher who just walked the bases loaded with no outs? How? How do you do it? It's like hard to be this bad. And yet the Padres are managing to pull it off, and they do it every year. So if you're wondering why the Padres aren't going to make the playoffs, and you see this video in September when they missed the playoffs, or today, and you're wondering why they're so bad, this is why. Selfish at bats, they're unprepared. The organization as a whole is flawed entirely. The analytics department is years and years and years behind. Combine that all with the team has no swagger, no confidence. The players are selfish. They don't refuse to make adjustments. And that could be on them. It also could be the guys preparing them on a day in and day out basis. But ultimately, there's only so much Bob Melvin could do as a manager, except write out the lineup and hope that these guys, I don't know, swing. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Padres, if you guys have seen anything, if you guys agree, if you disagree. But I'm letting you know now today on May 31st, 2023, the Padres will not be making the playoffs. It's over. So if you can find that offer, find something in the post in the sports book or whatever, odds for the Padres to make the postseason, I would take no, because it's a guarantee. So either way, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to slap a like if you guys enjoyed it and are watching it all the way to the end. Subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy this type of content. And ultimately, it's disappointing for the Padres, but at the end of the day, knowing the organization, not that surprising. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.